All right, let's have this conversation tonight. I want to thank you all for joining in. Those of you who are coming in, please do me a favor, share, like, hit those share button. We're going to have this conversation tonight. I think it's apropos. We need to talk. This is very important that we get this out. So I'm asking you all of you to share, like, hit the like button, hit the share button. I want to have this conversation. I want to have this discussion. I don't typically comment on things that are going viral, but I believe that this conversation needs to happen. And I'm going to give you some background before I get into this. But I want you to do me a favor. Please share, please like, please. Those of you who are on YouTube, please subscribe, lock in to this. Those of you on Instagram, please like, subscribe. Please hit the comments. Let's get into the comment section. Let's have this conversation tonight. Good to see you, Elder Woods. God bless you. C-Fan, come on in. Those of you who are part of the ministry, I want you to hear this. This is going to be good. I want to give some perspective as to why I am talking about this, why I feel it important to talk about this. And I'm not talking as a novice. I've been doing this for longer than I've been alive. So let's have the conversation. Let's talk about it. I know a lot of people have a lot to say, and it's important that when you do have something to say, that you understand the context, that you understand what is really going on in this, and how it's how it's viewed. Okay, so please do me a favor, share, like. Let's get as many people on as we can. So I'm tagging a few people. I hope that y'all can do the same thing for us. All right, so yeah, I'm tagging y'all. Y'all, if you got an invite from me, that means I want you in this room. If you're not already here, because I don't think you understand. So I'm going to help you. I'm going to try to help you understand. Uh, just try to give you some perspective. And I'm sure if you would take a few minutes, you would come to know that I'm being transparent, being honest, and authentic. Okay. So I'm just tagging a few people that I can think of on top of my head. All right. So as you all know, that this whole thing with Marvin Sapp has been going viral. Um, and I don't maybe I should do this. Hold on a second. Let me see. Maybe I should. I didn't even think about that because I thought under my in my mind I just figured everybody saw this already. So maybe I'll put a little maybe I will I don't have it set up. So let's see if I can do it real quick. Just so that it can give some insight as to all of you who those who haven't seen the clip. I shouldn't make that presumption that everyone has saw this. Um because everyone I don't think has. And there's a lot of people who have a lot to say about that, right? And I want y'all to understand that a lot of stuff that people are saying is you got to take with a grain of salt. A lot of it's clicks and views. A lot of people just want to have something to say. Um, Let me see if I can get a hold of this. Hold on. Okay, so I'm trying to find the hold on a second. Let me do it. I'll do it this way. Hope I don't get in trouble. Hope I don't get in trouble. Y'all bear with me. Oh, I can't do that. All right. All right. So let me say that I'm gonna have to deal without. without showing the views, without showing the God bless you, Shannon. Good to see you. I'm going to do it without showing you the clip. I hope that all of you saw the clip. And if you haven't, go look. It's all over the place. So I don't want to waste time doing that. The first thing I want to say is that out the gate, right? Let's just be, and I'm going to have this authentic, pure, direct conversation with you, and I'm going to tell you straight now. I'm going to tell you from what standpoint I'm coming from. I have committed most of my life to ministry. All right, let me just tell you, I have committed the larger percentage of my life. I've been pastoring and preaching. I've been preaching since I was 19 years old, and I've been pastoring since I was in my 20s, right? So I've been pastoring since 1996. Okay, so I'm 56 now. So do the math. So I've been doing this longer than I've been alive. Okay, and I've committed my life to it. This is my life's work, investing in the lives of people, sowing into the kingdom with my life. I've lost a lot. I've given up a lot. I've sacrificed a lot. I've spent a lot of money, of my own personal money, in ministry, right? Significant. I will never be able to get back as much money as I have personally sown into church, into ministry, and into the lives of the people that I minister to. So I want to be clear. And let me tell you something. Good to see you, woman of God, Lady Murphy. Most pastors, especially those who start from the ground roots or who start from grassroots, give a lot of their own resources to start these ministries. And most times, by the time they get to the place that, where they're of some prominence, they've given probably more money than they'll ever be able to get back. And if it's not just money, it's time, it's energy, it's talent, it's all what they've sown into the kingdom, right? Whether it be in study, whether it be in all kinds of facets of ministry, which we're going to deal with in a few minutes. Excuse me. So I'm telling you from a standpoint of a sincere pastor who's responded to the call, right? To the call on his life. Okay, so I'm gonna be clear. I've given hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm telling you, I still got some of the receipts of the amount of money I have literally given into the ministry. And let me tell you this. You're not gonna like what I'm about to say, but it was a mistake, because it was something that I did that God never asked me to do. So let me just be clear about that. And most men and women who do this work called ministry typically give more of themselves than what is required. we are diehard. We are bleeding hearts. We love God's people. We love the ministry, and we don't do it. We don't do it for money. Those of us who've been called to this by God do not do this because of money. All right. Now, I know that doesn't fit the narrative of what you hear, but that is the truth. That is the truth. Okay. Now, first thing I want to say to you from that premise, right? From that premise, and everything I said I could prove. All right. But from that premise, and I didn't say what I said to brag. I said what I said to give context so that you will understand from where I'm coming from and where those of us who do this work are coming from. Okay. So let's go. Now, you can track this. You can talk to Jakes. You could talk to Noel Jones. You could talk to Creflo. You could talk to all those high level. You could talk to those who know the story of Fred Price. You could talk to all those major leaders. And I'm telling you that when you talk to them about their beginnings, especially those who start new ministries, you will find that they've given blood, sweat, and tears for the work. And just because you see Jakes where he is now, you don't see these high level, just because you see them where they are, you don't know where they started from. You don't know the sacrifice, but that's okay. Let's talk about this tonight. The first thing I want to say to you is this. Marvin Sapp wasn't talking to you. All right. He wasn't talking to me. So let's just be honest about that. Right. Let's just be mature about that. He wasn't talking to the world. Now, whether or not should that have leaked out, I don't know. You can squabble one way or the other. I don't care. But the reality is, who was he talking to? It wasn't me, right? It wasn't you. It was whoever was in that room. Whoever was in that room, whoever was online, whoever feels committed to that ministry, he was talking to them. So let's just be clear about that. This really is none of anyone else's business. I know y'all got a lot of comments, but this is no one's business. All right. So I want to be clear about that, because let me tell you something. When you don't understand or respect or understand the context of what's happening, you tend to misjudge it all the time. Now, we can go back and forth whether or not his tactics was wise or was tactful. Whether it was, what seemingly seemed harsh, but I don't know his relationship with his people. I don't understand the culture, right? And that's the challenge that many of us don't understand. There's a culture to this thing. There is a methodology. there's a way that people do things. And when you're on the outside looking in, right? God bless you, woman of God. When you're on the outside looking in, of course you can pick and choose what you want to say. When you jump into a middle of a conversation and just say what you want to hear, or hear that part of the conversation, not understanding the context, of course you're going to have an opinion. But if you're smart or wise, you realize, wait a minute, what am I talking about? I don't really know what was going on here. I don't really know what they were really talking about. I don't really understand the culture. I don't understand what the backdrop. I don't understand how the relationship with him and his organization. Maybe that's how they do things. Maybe that's how they talk. Maybe the people in the room didn't have a problem with what he said, right? They were used to that, because I know, being in church, that I've heard that kind of talk for years, right? And let me be clear about this. People say, well, you locking people in. That's not what happened. Let me tell you what happens in those such settings. They shut the doors during prayer. Like, you go into certain churches, and if they're doing a prayer, they will tell people no walking. Listen, no walking. Don't let nobody in, because we're praying. So the service will be halted. No one can go anywhere because they are praying. But you don't know that, right? You don't know that because you don't understand the culture. And because he says something about offering and money, everybody's up in arms. Everybody's all worked up. But they do that for offering time. They do that for certain parts of the service. When they're doing altar calls, oftentimes they'll tell people, please, no walking. Before the preacher gets up, there are times they say, listen, during offering or during this time, please go to the restroom. Do what you have to do, because while the man of God is up preaching, we don't want any distractions. We don't want anyone walking. That happens all the time. But again, you don't know that, right? You don't understand that because you don't understand. I hear you, Lady Johnson, our protocol. You don't understand church culture. You don't understand how they govern their services. And because you don't understand, you think you could just talk to what's going on in our community. And that's the problem with the church. We've given the world too much attention or too much credibility to talk about what's going on in our community. And that's the problem I've always had, is that how dare you talk about what's going on in our community? We are the body of Christ. We are the church of the living God. How we do things, we don't do things based on the world system. We have a whole protocol in the word of God on how things should be done. And it's not based on what the world thinks. So we've made the mistake, right? We've made the mistake of giving the world access to us and to hold to what they say as if it's gospel. What we should be doing is to mind your business. See, that really should have been the response of the church. Mind your business, world. We don't tell you how to do your thing. We don't go into your nightclubs and tell you how to party. We don't tell you how to drink. We don't tell you how to lie. We don't tell you how to govern yourself in your arena, right? So how dare you come into our church and tell us how to govern ourselves? See, that's the problem. See, you can get mad all you want about the world, but the problem is the church gave them too much access or too much credibility to say what they want to say. And that's something that we're going to have to tighten up about. Now, I get all of that, and I want you to get that too. So I'm unapologetic. I don't, whatever Pastor Marvin was doing, that was between him and his people. And if there's somebody who has a problem in that organization with the way he did it, let them deal with that. Just like you don't want nobody in your business telling you how to deal with your situation, your children. Somebody, if you see your child, if you see someone in their child discipline their child in the store, and you saying something to your child, and somebody walks to you, well, why you speaking so hard to your child? That's mind your business. Come on, y'all. Don't tell me how to talk to my children. Don't tell me how to talk, how to govern, how to pay my how to spend my money. Don't tell me how to spend my money at the grocery store. Well, you should get this product and not that product because that product is better. It's none of your business. Just like what's going on in church is none of the world's business. All right. So let me delve down a little deeper in this because this needs to be said. Okay. So first of all, he wasn't talking to you. But let me talk to you about why the world takes on this position. Because the world does not respect the church, nor does the world understand what it requires for the church to operate and to function. And the reason why the world thinks this way, because they think that the church should be free, right? Because we're doing God's work. But let's be clear about this. And I want to be emphatic about what I'm about to say to you. Although church ministry is a benevolent, gets to do a lot of fundraisers, but the church, to govern a church, is not free. It costs ministry to do what they do. And because you don't have any appreciation or respect or honor or any investment, right, in the church, other than when you need something from the church, right? Other than when you need something from the church, you don't care the fact that same electricity bill that you got at your house, that your CEO has at his company, as your employer has at their job, the same expenses, insurance, lights, heat, gas, repairs, staffing, all those things cost. Here we go. Wait a minute. Wait for it. Pause. Pump your brakes. Here we go. Y'all ready for this? It costs money. And they don't give the church a different price per decatherm of the electricity or kilowatt, per kilowatt that they do another business. No, they do not. Taxes, no, most churches are exempt, sweetheart. But they do not give, they do not give special pricing for electricity, for oil, for gas, for supplies. They may get a tax benefit, but not necessarily do they give the different prices. So all that equipment that you see at the church, right? All the drums, the lights, all the things they do, the vans, all those things cost money, real dollars and cents. It costs money to run ministry. And wait, hold on. And what you don't respect or honor is that a lot of these churches or these high level ministries cost millions of dollars a month to operate. Millions a month to operate. And what you don't also understand, because you don't understand church work, is that a lot of the preachers that you see in the pulpit, right? Okay, like a Jakes, Creflo, all those guys, you think, because again, you don't know church business, you don't understand how church run, you think that it's enough money for them to have jets and all this stuff. I know that Creflo asked for money for a jet. Why do you think he asked people to donate money for a jet? Whether you agree with it or not, because he don't have it. And he felt it was necessary for him to have a jet. Now, do I think it's necessary for him to have a jet? I don't know his schedule. However, some of y'all are okay with Kevin Hart having a jet, Jay-Z having a jet, Beyonce having a jet. You're okay with CEOs having jets, actors and actresses having jets, right? You're okay with them having mansions. Why are you okay with that? You know why you're okay with that? Because you respect the labor and the work and the skill set and the professionalism that they are in. You give that respect. And what you don't respect is the church and what the church does for the community. Oh, whoa. The church don't do nothing for the community? Okay. Well, whenever you want to get married, guess where you go? Church. Funerals, where? Church. Baby dedications, where? Church. What? What? If you have problems with your family, church. Even the government would tell you that there are some areas that they say that you should go to church for. Now, if the church cannot fund itself, how is it going to be there for you? Oh, because you don't respect or honor what the church actually does for the community. No, you don't. That's why you have a problem with the church asking for money, the preacher asking for money. I'm going to deal with that in a minute. Okay. Now, this is the challenge. I see you, Lady Bray. God bless you. And again, I'm telling you, it is expensive to do ministry. For that building to exist with all the expenses, they have the same expenses that the major corporation has, the same expenses, right? But again, you expect them somehow. I don't know where you expect this money to come from. I don't know. God, listen, God does not just drop money in the middle of a church. These bills have to be paid. Like all those people that are working, like the musicians, everybody's not volunteering. These people that are working behind the cameras that provide, they are not volunteers. They are professionals, real professionals. Those cameras that you see, those cameras, some of them are $200,000 or $300,000 each. So you could say what you want to say, grace and peace, Elder. What you can say, what you want to say, feel how you want to feel about it, but it does cost a lot of money to run ministry. A lot of money to run ministry. And the churches are really doing their best to try to minister to the community. But you don't respect that. But let me help you. You don't have a problem. Let's talk about the pastor now. Now, granted, I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you what I know. I'm not saying that I'm telling you what I know. I'm not coming from a position of someone who just talks. No, I live this thing. This is my life. I've done it for most of my life, like I said earlier. And I want you to be clear about this. Over 30 years, I've been preaching for over 30 years. I've been in ministry most of my life. All right. I was born in the church, practically. So let's talk about it. Because some of y'all really just got on my nerves with this. Let me go. So let's talk about the pastor. Let's talk about the preacher. Let's talk about the guy that y'all think is hustling all the money for the church. Please hit the like button, hit the share button, people need to hear this. The reason why, I served as a full-time minister before, right? Now, not because the church can afford me, because I had enough money to support myself while I was doing this. Now, there's not a person on those chats, on those comments that have commented negatively about Marvin Sapp. There's not a person that gets upset when they see a doctor driving a Bentley, a neurologist, a cardiologist, right? They don't have a problem with those guys, right? They got big mansions. They make a lot of money, right? They get a lot of money from insurance, which you pay, right? They just figured a way around, which we all pay, right? So you don't have a problem with that. Oh, he's a doctor. Oh, he's a lawyer. Oh, we expect him to have money. In fact, I'm going deeper now. If a guy is driving an Uber and he tells you he's a lawyer, you are shocked. You're like, what? Why is a lawyer driving an Uber? If the Uber driver tells you he's a doctor and he's driving Uber, you're like, what? Uber? What kind of doctor are you? See, you're shocked. Because why? Because you think that those professions are worthy of the money that they get. If the CEO of IBM or Bill Gates or any of those top level people that you think has a lot of money, if they are, because they're successful and they got millions of, you respect them. You respect them. Why? Because you hold what they do in high regard. The problem is you don't hold what we do as pastors in high regard. Now, let's be clear about this. So you think pastors should not have anything. We should be walking to church. We should live in a one-bedroom apartment with our whole family. We should have no money. And if we do have some money, we stealing. If we do have a nice car, we robbing the people. But the guy who's the executive or the entertainer or whatever they're doing, you expect them to have a lot of money. And let me tell you, you do know that these organizations have charities, right? They ask for money too. They go to banks, they borrow money. They have fundraisers. You do know that, right? You do know that they have these things they do to try to get money to run their businesses. But if the church says we need money, because we're not in the business of selling stuff. Like, we don't have stuff we sell to make money. Our commitment is to the people who need our help in our community, right? So we have to ask the parishioners, those who have partnered with the pastor and the ministry, right, to help fund this work. What work? To help our community. See, our job, right? The church meets a fundamental need for its congregation and for the community. It's a real need that the church tries to meet. That's what we do. We're in the business of helping individuals, right? So what do leaders do? Our jobs is to try to impact the lives of the sick, the shut in, the incarcerated, the homeless, the naked, the hungry, right? That's what we do. We try to help families. We try to build community. That's what we do. And because you don't respect it until you're in trouble, you don't honor it until you need us. Therefore, if there's a few dollars, you think the man of God or the woman of God has a few dollars, they're crooks, right? They're crooks. But let me tell you something. That's because you don't respect what they do until you need them. And so now you can sit in your little on your screen and watch Marvin Sapp say something he said a year ago. I want to put that out there. All of a sudden now it makes the news. Everybody got something to say because you don't respect it. And because you don't respect what pastors do, therefore you think they should have nothing. Well, let me tell you a little bit about what it's like to serve full time in ministry. I did it. And I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I serve even now, because what you don't know, that the pastor, which I serve as, if people get in trouble, they call us wee hours of the night. Their marriage is in trouble, we sit with them and try to counsel them. They're sick, we go to hospitals and we sit with the sick. We go to the prisons and we minister to people. We go to their homes if they have problems. I've literally have gotten up out of my bed, went to a couple's house who was fighting to try to help them not end up in jail. I've literally gone to the courthouse and wrote letters to judges and tried to help people get out of situations. I've traveled into other states and went to court appearances on behalf of people to try to help them get help. No one paid me for that. No one pays me. I literally study. When we study to bring messages to you, right? That's time, people. We don't get paid for that. That's time that we spend in the Word of God to give to you, to help empower you, to help you find answers and navigate through the terrains of life. For what? For free? Yeah, most of us do it for free. But if I do this all the time, all day, how am I going to take care of my family? How is that man of God going to take care of the needs he has? Get a job? Okay, get a job. Now, I'm a working pastor. Well, you know why I can work right now? Because I don't have a congregation who can actually support me. My congregation is not that large. But let's say, for instance, like some of these other ministries who have 2,000 or 3,000 people. And let me tell you something. Even in my small congregation, there are those in my congregation who have needs. They get sick. I go to hospitals, and I'm not complaining. It's what I love to do. I go to hospitals. I pray for them. I counsel them. I answer their calls. They have trouble. I take on that trouble. I stand in the gap for them. That's what we do as leaders. Are you hearing me? Now, I can work because I have a full-time job because my congregation is not that big. But if some of these churches who have thousands of people, could you imagine Could you imagine Jesus doing what he did with 20,000 people following him around? There is no way he can have a full-time job. But again, the church has a structure that we have in order to maintain the leadership, the church to function, and they do that through giving, tithes and offerings, right? But again, that's how they do it. However, whatever the structure is. And let me tell you something. Y'all ready for this? You ain't gonna like it, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. Do you know that most people, y'all ain't gonna like this. Y'all ain't gonna like this, but I'm telling you, most people who go to church do not tithe, do not give on a consistent basis. I'll say that again. Let me say that for those who are in the back and those who are a little slow. Most people who go to church do not consistently give. They do not. Listen, about 20%. Good to see you, Deaconess Sykes. Barrett, excuse me. About 20% of the people who go to church actually give on a consistent basis. Most people do not give their tithe or offering on a consistent basis. That's why you see these churches with all these fundraisers, because they got to find a way to make it up. Yeah. And I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. There are some of us who are consistent givers every week without miss in the church. Consistent. And those are the people who help keep the doors open. But you see all those people in church and you say, oh, they all, with all those people, they should have. No, that's not true. Because again, only about 20% of any given congregation is the real givers. See, you're deceived by the crowd and you don't understand the backdrop. And let me tell you something else too. No, it's one of the things that the church has to come to terms with, right? The church has to come to terms with is that if you are a part of a ministry, you're supposed to give. You're supposed to be the helpers of that ministry, right? You're supposed to be consistent with helping that ministry do what we do. But a lot of people come to church, they don't even give. They don't even care to give. Some of them have any conviction about giving. And I'm serious about this. Now, I'm not eating no one's lunch for it. I'm telling you, I know why people don't give, and whatever your reasons are, they are. It is what it is. But the point I'm making is that the deception is you think that somehow or another we're just going to function when your household don't function without money, with the businesses that you patronize don't function unless your money. You don't go to restaurants and complain, right? When the bill comes. No, you don't. You sit there, you eat, right? And listen, you can listen. This is good because some of y'all look at that Bible, so I can read the Bible myself. Well, okay. But I bet you what you can't do is that you cannot get what you get at home without the church that you can get with the church. All right, you don't go to a restaurant. I'm going to hit you now. You ain't going to like this. You sit down at the meal. You look at the menu. You order steak or whatever you order. I don't care what it is. Now, whatever you order on that menu, I guarantee you it would be cheaper if you cooked it at home, right? Cheaper, like significantly cheaper. But guess what happens? You still go to that restaurant and you sit there and you have that meal. And guess what happens when the bill comes? Nobody's surprised. Oh, there's a bill? I mean, I don't really think it was worth that much. I mean, I can buy this steak in my grocery store, for $3. And here you charge me $65 for this? But see, what you don't know, what you haven't thought about, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, is that for him to give you that steak, for that business owner to give you that steak, it wasn't just him buying it from someplace to give it to you. He's got to pay for the electricity in that room that you're in, the heating or air conditioning that you're sitting in, the chairs that you're sitting on, the people who are serving you that meal, the one who cooked it, the equipment he had to buy to serve that meal, right? So all those things that you are literally enjoying because you rather have it there than have it at home, right? You're sitting there and not one of you will say, well, I don't think you should give me no bill. I mean, this is how much it's going to cost you to do this. Why you need that money? No, you sit there, you pay that bill. And some of you, hello, wait, here we go. Tip. That means you give at least, y'all ain't going to like this, more than 15% if you have any real couth about yourself. 15% is the norm. Oh, good Lord, of the bill. However, the church asks for 10% of a dime out of every dollar, and you squabble about that. And that's not even enough to take care of what the church needs. Are you hearing me? And I understand the approach, but the point I'm making, and I made before, Deaconess Barrett, you wasn't here, is that I don't know what that culture is. I don't know how they do over there. I've been to some churches. Let me be clear. I've personally been to some churches, and I hear how the man of God talks to his people, and I cringe because I would never talk to my people like that. But again, those people respond to that, and these are adults. Let's just talk about it. If they did not like what he was saying and how he said it, it's all free will. I'm gonna say it again. It's all free will. No one's making any of those people. He got 2,000 or 3,000 people sitting in that room for a reason. They're there because they know him and they have the right to not go back. But what do? They go back. Why? Because they are okay with what's going on there. And let me tell you something. I don't think, who am I as a pastor? I may not like it. I don't particularly like a lot of things that these men and women do in church. Y'all know how I am. But I'm not going to say, oh, they shouldn't stand for that. No, that's how they do. That's how their houses run. That's how they govern themselves. Just like how you govern, everyone governs their own house, right? I put my cups right upside down. You may put your cups in the shelf upside down, right side up. I don't know. I don't know. But how you do things in your house is your business. So who am I to say to these? This is all free will, saints. These people either can go or not go. They choose to stay. And is it abuse? I don't know. Maybe by my standard. But apparently it's okay with them. And that's where it has to stop and start. There are some people who think that some pastors like us who love you, love the people of God, are too giving, are too nice. They have a whole different way of dealing with things. Some people look at it and say, why do you put up with that? You got to tell them people, whoa, you talk to your people how you want to talk to them. And I'll talk to the people how I want to talk to my people. Because we all have different people that are attracted to us. We have my wife says, who are calibrated to my voice. So you come to my ministry because of who I am to you. But if I was abusive and talking harsh and saying something, you wouldn't come back, and you don't have to come back. So my point is that whatever they do over there, let them do. But the world thinks they should have something to say about what we do in church. That's my problem. And the reality is this. Some people say giving to churches, well, he's taking your money. Well, let me tell you something. Like I said before, there's not enough money to take and still try to keep ministry going. Good to see Jackie. All right. So let's stop giving all this credibility to the world. Let me go back to my scenario. I just wanted to address that, Deaconess Barrett, because I know you wasn't here earlier. The reality is this. You go to a restaurant, you sit down and eat, and you will pay that bill, right? You pay that bill. You expect to pay the bill, right? Okay. And you don't squabble with the waiter and talk about, now, if it's too expensive, guess what you don't do? You don't go back there, right? You have free will. That's what I'm talking about. And so the fact is you have free will to either go or not. If you're going to sit there and be a part of that, then you're going to pay for it. Now, I've paid a lot of money for dinners. I've paid somewhere in the neighborhood $300 or $400, sometimes, $400 for a meal at a certain restaurant. I didn't complain. I said, oh, $400? No, I looked at the menu. I knew what it costs before I selected that to tell the waiter to get that to me. I went to that restaurant because I expect a certain ambiance, a certain treatment, a certain elegance, a certain quality. So I went and I go back if I like it. If I don't like it, I don't go back. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is this. I know everybody has a problem with the way he says that, right? The way he did it, but that's his tribe. Those are his people. And my problem is, don't tell another man how to run his house, right? Listen, you said, well, it's Lord's house. Yeah, but he is the governing body, the influence of that church. Now, I want to say this too. The church gives, like I said, it meets a fundamental need. They counsel, they minister, we counsel, we minister, we try to feed the hungry, we try to clothe the naked, we try to counsel people. And I'm telling you that it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I am on call 24 hours a day. Any of my people that are part of my ministry know that they can call me and know that I'm going to respond. They know that. There's no second guessing. You know how they know? Because I do respond. Because I will show up and I will be there. The people that I serve as their leader, they know my heart toward them. I love you, sweet woman of God. Right? They know my heart toward them. They know that I give whatever I have for them. They know I pray for them. They know they're on my mind and their heart. They know that. They know me. I know them. And I don't have a major requirement. I don't put no restraints on them and yell at them because I know they're God's people. And I love them as such. Are you hearing me? So because they know that about me, because they know my heart, because they know where I am, so they know they can depend on me. And let me tell you something. I don't complain about that. I've been doing it for a long time because this is what I do. Now, if you come to our church and you see that they may say, well, pastor, which doesn't happen often, we're going to bless our pastor. We're going to buy him such and such and such, right? And you walk in there that day and you see these people saying, well, we're going to give our pastor, you're going to give our pastor $1,000, right? We're going to give our pastor $1,000. And you walk in that day and you say, oh, whoa, $1,000? What they giving that man $1,000 for? Well, you just showed up. You don't know the relationship that I have with my people. You don't know every time they were in trouble, they called me. You don't know that even their friends. I had a friend of one of my members call me who was in trouble because he knew based on the person who was a part of my church knew that I love them. And they can call me and ask me to minister to them, even though they never stepped foot in my church. But because they were a friend of one of the people that belonged to my church, they knew that they could call me. And let me tell you something. The people that are part of my ministry knows that anybody in their life, I'm talking about anybody in their life, if like friends and co-workers and relatives that don't go to our church, they know you can call my pastor and he will respond. You can call him and he will show up for you. I can ask him to pray for you and he'll pray for you. They know that. You know why they know that? Because they know me. So all of a sudden now you show up at a service and they're giving me $1,000 because they want to be a blessing to my ministry. And all you saw was that they handed me money. Oh, there you go again. The preachers are trying to rob you. But you don't know the context. You don't understand the leadership. You don't understand the relationship. You don't understand that I don't take a salary. I give more to the church than I take. I give a lot more. I don't take anything. Let's be clear about that. So you don't know what's really going on. But because you on the outside looking in, you somehow think, oh, look at it. He pimping. Because you don't know what's going on. You don't understand what's transpired in these people's lives. You don't understand how many of the marriages are still together because of the labor. You don't know how many children have reconciled with their families because of the labor. You don't understand what we do. Are you hearing me? You don't understand it. So you just looking on the outside, judging because you think based on your own narrative, because the world has seduced you and tricked you to think that we all crooks. The devil is a liar. I'm not a crook. I don't care what you Negroes say. I don't care because I know who I am. I know what I do. I know what I've done. I know what I've done. I know the sacrifice I've given, and whether or not you respect it or not. And I found people who used to be a part of my ministry And now they think they're bigger or smarter or more powerful or more anointed. Somehow or another, I'm not as anointed that way. I'm still anointed. The problem is you are in a bad situation or place. And maybe perhaps we just parted company, but it doesn't take away from what I've done in your life. It doesn't take away from what God has given me to how to bless you. I got people in the world. I got people in Portchester that when they go to prison or they got in trouble in jail, they call me. I had to go. One gentleman called me and said, man, Pastor, man, I need your help. I need you to write me a letter, man. I'm going to court. I'm going to federal court. I don't know what kind of time they're going to give me. Man, please come and show up for me. Guess what I did? A working pastor. Court is not held up after work. It wasn't convenient. It wasn't like on a weekend, which I do work on a weekend. No, it's not. I had to take a day off, drive to New York, sit in the court, and help this young man get through this situation he was going through. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? But you don't know that. You don't know that because you are on the outside looking in. You don't know that because you don't respect what I do as a pastor. You don't know that. You don't know what it takes for us to do what we do every week, week in and week out. You don't understand the hours of study. You don't understand the hours of lack, the pain, the suffering, the blood, the sweat, the tears that we go through to minister to a people who oftentimes cannot afford to give us anything. Who cannot afford to couldn't even pay us for our time. So, and we do that. Listen, when I go to preach at a church, I don't even think about the offering. I don't even listen. That's the first thing from my mind. I don't think about money when I go to church. I think about paying the bills and trying to keep the church open and lights and all that and try to keep that going. But I don't think about how much money I'm gonna get because I know that money is not even coming to me. But I do think about the lives that I'm touching. I do think about those, whether or not they're okay in their families. I do want to teach message to try to empower them so they can come out of poverty. They can become wiser and stronger, more encouraged. I do try to empower them to develop a level of self-esteem and growth and development. I do think about that. I do spend time agonizing over the word of God to make sure that the word that I'm preparing will resonate with them in their life. To make sure to understand that this word that I'm trying to give these people, that they'll take with them and make the changes in their life to make their lives better. I do think about that. I do agonize over that. I do cry over that. I do sweat over that. I want to make sure that what I'm saying to you will transcend and help you understand of who you are and build you up. I do agonize over that. I do rejoice when I see the people growing and thriving and doing well. I do. And when they're not, I ask God to help them. I do carry that weight when you're in trouble. I do carry that weight when you're discouraged. I do carry the weight when you are sick as a pastor. But you don't know that because you don't know the relationship I have in this situation. You don't know my heart. So yeah, you're going to call me a pimp if I have a nice car. You're going to call me a hustler if I have a nice house, where in fact, nobody in church has ever bought that from me. But you don't know that. You don't understand that. So yeah, you can stand outside and talk about what leaders do and don't do because you're on the outside looking in. But the sad thing is this, and this is what I don't like, is that you okay with the doctor having a Bentley. You're okay with the executive or the pimp. Hold on. Pump your brakes. Wait a minute. Let me say it. The drug dealer. You're okay with the drug dealer having a nice car, having gold. You expect him to have money. Wait, let that sit there for a minute. You expect the kingpin to have a lot of money. And let me dig deeper into that. Let me double down on that. To be a successful drug dealer, you have to be skillful. You have to have a talent. You have to have a skill. And let me be clear about this. Oh God, y'all got me worked up on this. Most drug dealers, high-level drug dealers, they only exist for like 6 months. They don't have long reigns of power. But you okay with the drug dealer with the big rims and the big speakers? You'll say, well, he must be dealing drugs. And that's all you will say. Because you expect them to have money. You okay with them having money? You okay? You are okay with drug dealers, big time drug dealers having money. You are okay with that. But God forbid if the man of God has a nice car, a nice house, you flip out. How the hypocrisy is so thick. It is ridiculous how we think. And the world, the church is so sensitive, trying to be accepted by this world so much that we actually have to address things we do to try to make sense of what we do in our community. Let me help you. Let me help you. Let me help you. What y'all don't know is that the Jewish community do have much more of a demand. Oh, wait. You know how they build their synagogue? They don't have mortgages. So what they do, all right, what they do is that they say, we're going to build a new synagogue. This is how they do it, right? Amen. They're going to build a new synagogue. God bless him. God rest his soul. They build a new synagogue. You know what they do? They say, okay, we need to take pledges. We're going to build a new synagogue, a new school, whatever their project is, we need to take pledges. You know what they say? All right, YNC family, how much you going to give? Oh, we'll give $20,000. Okay. The Weinstein and whatever Steens, what are you going to give? Oh, we're going to give 10,000. Okay. The Cole family, what are you going to give? Oh, we're going to give 30,000. That's how they build their synagogues, right? They don't do like we do it. They build this. That's what they do. They're going to build a. They take on it. Now they have a consistent giving they do every week, because of course they talk about tithing. They're tithers. That's why they do so well financially. They tithe and they tithe regularly. And guess what else? They tithe and they held accountable for it. They do not believe that you can come to that synagogue and not give something you must give. There's no like, oh, you should. No, if you don't, you are told not to come back. Right? That's how they do it. So that's how they build their synagogues. And again, can they do that? Yes. You know why they do it? Because they teach about business. They have a real firm community. They have a structure that's in place that keeps them doing what they do. But those of us in the Protestant church, we hemming and hawing about this, that, or the third. Because a lot of us don't have the money. Or we give money to something else or some other cause. Okay? Now, do you have to give? No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you how they do it. But the world is, and this, the crazy thing, y'all ready for this? Ready for this? The world ain't talking about what they do. The world is not criticizing them what they do. Because the Weinsteins are doctors, lawyers, accountants, CEOs, business owners, jewel owners. They have legitimate businesses that they do very well in. And that's why nobody's talking about what they do in their community. And you know what else they don't do? They don't care what you say about their community. They don't care that you talk about their little curls on the side of their head. They don't care whether they're wearing their black, they're white, or they have their little shawls on. They don't care how you think about them. They don't care what you say about them. They don't give you access to criticize them. They don't care what you think. We're the only people in the church who give a hootenanny about what the world says about us, because we're trying to be so accepted by the world. We're so intimidated. Oh, what the world gonna say to us? Which, in fact, the world don't even support anything we do. The world don't give you money to fund your ministries. Are you hearing me? The world don't care whether your church stays open or closes. Whenever the church in trouble, the world don't come running. Oh, we gotta keep this church open. They do not. They let it close. But here it is. We're out here trying to be careful about or care what people say about us. That's because we lost our way. That's because we become so seduced and we've been so compromised that we think we got to be submitted to what the world thinks about us. In fact, the world should be concerned about what we think about them. So yes, this whole thing about who we are as a church and what we do, that's the reality. The reality is that, listen, and when I saw that, that didn't bother me, because I've seen it for years. I've seen worse than that. Right? And Elder Woods, you know what they'll say if the church closes? Well, I guess the pastor was stealing the money. That's why they couldn't pay their bills. I guess they were too busy, taking the money. So they'll start villainizing you. Now that you're a criminal. Now you're stealing now because you Now you're stealing. And it's always the people who don't give anything who has all these criticisms. That's what's killing me. Like, they'll say, like, he wasn't talking to you. You didn't give a dime to that offering. Not a dime. You probably never gave to his church, and you got so much to say online about what he's doing. Who cares what you think? Why do we even care what the world thinks? You know, we start apologizing to the world for what we do in our community. We know we're already not in charge. If you're in charge, think what you want to think. I'm not looking for you to accept me anyway. I'm not looking for you to condone me. I don't care what you think about me. You're too busy trying to get their money, trying to get their approval. That's where the church is in trouble. That's my only criticism about this whole thing. Is that it has nothing to do with you. And you can say anything you want to say about who you want to say it about. And there's some of the people, hypocritical, that have something to say. The minute they get in trouble, they're asking somebody to pray for them. They're asking some preacher to pray. So that's why I don't go to church. That's not why you don't go to church. Stop lying. That's not why you don't go to church, because of what they're doing with the money. That's not why. Because you can walk into the church. Hello. You can walk into the church, which is probably the only place you can walk into, sit there for the whole service and not give a dime and go home. Which means this: you could sit in that seat. Let's break this down. You could sit in that seat. You can get in the service and clap. You can enjoy the choir. You can enjoy the music. You can enjoy the dancers and whatever entertainment they got. You can hear a word that would empower you and minister to you, that can help answer questions and help you see some things. And most times you go to church, you get answers of things that you've been really asking God for. You could sit there the whole time and walk out and not give a dime. Tell me where you could do that at. No. Tell me where you can go in our society, walk into a place and receive all of that for nothing. Tell me what movie theater you can go in, sit in the movie theater, don't pay a dime and leave. Tell me what nightclub. You're going to a bar, but you ain't drinking for free. And if it has a nightclub, most times it's a cover charge. If they have a band, it's a cover charge. Tell me, where can you go? Where can you go? What restaurant can you go into, enjoy, sit there? What restaurant can you go to? You go to diner maybe. What restaurant or diner you can go to and sit there and not order anything? Waitress comes over, can I take your order? No, I'm not going to have nothing. You sit in that seat for about an hour, 2 hours, and don't pay a dime. They're like, excuse me, you gotta order something if you're gonna sit here, because you're taking up a seat. You're taking up a seat that someone who's here that's gonna help pay for this business it could use. So please, if you're not gonna get anything, leave. What doctor's office can you go in, and a dentist's office, and have them clean your teeth? What doctor's office can you go in and sit in all day and just sit in that office without them saying, wait, why are you here? Well, I'm here. I'm just here. I don't know. I'm just want to stay here. No, you can't just sit in our office and taking up seats. The church is the only place that you can walk into and sit there and enjoy all of that stuff, which costs money. Lights, the choir, the musicians, all that stuff they're doing, all that stuff you're receiving. People put work and time into it. The preacher, whatever he's saying, the word or inspiration, whatever he's giving, all that stuff you enjoying, couple of hours you sitting there, makes you feel good, and you could just walk out and not pay a dime. The church is the only place that you can do that. And we care what the world says about us. We care about what people think about the church. You got to be out your mind. So I'm saying it. And I hope y'all share this, because I'm sick of how the world we just give all this power to the world. It's bad enough dealing with some of us in the church, the nonsense we put up with each other. That's enough. And we got to deal with the world too? Get out of here. Go kick rocks. No. Listen, you don't go to our church. I ain't think this. I'm not your pastor. You're not part of my tribe. That's fine. Go wherever you need to go. But I'll be doggone I'll be doggone if I give any more credence to what the world thinks about our church and what I'll be doggone what I care about what people who don't have no support, don't even care about what we're doing and trying to villainize us. I don't care about that. I don't care about what some people say that in our church say about me because they don't listen. If you think I'm up to something sneaky, you don't know me, and I don't have to worry about trying to convince you of anything otherwise. I don't. Why am I wasting time trying to convince you of who I am? I know who I am. And if you don't like me, that's good. Be fine, man. There's a church for you somewhere. It may not be us, and I'm good with that too. I may not be your pastor. Go find your pastor and submit to that. But I'm not trying to win brownie points with anybody. I'm trying to make heaven my home. I'm trying to please the God that called me. I'm trying to make sure that those who God is giving me to watch over, that I protect them, that I love them, that those that are part of my ministry, I love them unapologetically, unconditionally. I love them whether they come to church or whether they don't come to church. I love them. My job is to make sure I care for them. My job is to mankind. That's it. And so I'm doing that. So when I'm done, I want to hear those words. Well done. You were faithful with few things. You were faithful with those that I gave to you, whether your flock was large or small. You were consistent. You were always there. You always showed up. You was always accountable. If you did these to the least of them, you did this to me. When they had issues, I show up. There are people who used to be a part of my church can call me right now. My mom's sick. My dad's sick. Something going on. Can you pray, Pastor? Yes, I pray. You know why they know that? Because they know I love them. They know I'm sincere about what I do. They know it has nothing to do with whether or not they're a part of my church or not. They know who I am. And when a people knows who you are, then they'll deal with you accordingly. So stop trying to make apologies. Bump what them people are saying about Marvin. I feel bad for Marvin. He got to explain. He got to do that because he's struggling with the world and all that nonsense. And that's what we should not be doing at this point. That's all I got. That's all I got tonight. I just had to say it. I had to get off my chest. I was telling my wife about it. She said, I said, I got to do it. I got to do it live. She's like, all right, go ahead. She's like, go ahead, talk. You got to share this. Because I don't know whose people think they are. You give as much as we give. What? You're not paying a bill over here. You ain't doing nothing over here. What's wrong with you? They're not gonna buy your records, they're gonna stream them and steal them. Yeah, I don't know why y'all think a lot. Why do you think these artists and these singers end up being pastors? Why do you think that a guy, you got a guy like Kurt who's, doing his thing. So he's going to make his money. He's all over the place. But some of these singers, they end up being pastors. Why? Why would they leave the road and do that to be a pastor? Why? Why do rappers end up being actors? Why? Because they need to make more money. They need to try to create other streams of income. You say, they're on stage singing. Church folk ain't buying that stuff. Church, what y'all think? What y'all think? They got to go on the road. That's why you think preachers like Jakes and Creflo and all these guys travel and go to churches and preach over. Why do you think Noel Jones go to churches and preach at different churches? Why do you think he does that? Because it's not enough at the church to support his lifestyle. That's why. But you don't know that because you don't know nothing about the church and you don't respect anything that we do. Because we're too busy trying to kowtow to you and trying to submit to you and trying to make you feel good about us. That's why you don't know. That's why a lot of preachers on the road preaching day and day. I used to travel and preach. I got tired of that. Then you got to come back at church on Sunday and preach with your people. Then you got to go jump on a plane and jump in the car and drive over here and preach at somebody else's church and here and there. Man, please. That it's good for those who want to do it. But let me tell you something. Eventually, they stop calling you. Yeah, y'all don't know about that. Yeah, eventually they stop calling you. That's why you got to have all these little gimmicks, these little things you sell. You saw hustling. prayer shawls and oil and water and all these scarves. Why do you think they do all that, y'all? What do you think they do? The same reason, you know why they do that? The same reason why sports entertainers take endorsements. Why do you think that these NBA and football players doing commercials, take endorsements for the money? But God forbid if the church start doing stuff like that. We crooks, we're liars, we're thieves, we're tricking some old lady out of her money. Oh God. I'm not saying it don't happen, but guess what? Football players go to jail for doing crazy stuff. Basketball players go to jail for doing crazy stuff. CEOs go to jail for doing crazy stuff. Actors and actresses go to jail for doing crazy stuff, for being a rogue or doing something crazy. So guess what? Preachers do too when they get caught doing crazy stuff. But it don't make everybody crazy or a thief or a liar. Y'all just paint the whole church with that brush. And the guy that you think is the guy who is faithful is the guy who's struggling and don't take nothing from the church. Y'all think, oh man, he may be all right. But don't let him get a new car. You know, my father told me that years ago. He said, man, don't drive no new car around them people. He said, you drive a new car, they're going to swear you taking the church money. They're going to swear. And that's exactly what happened. Bought a new car. Oh, what's going on with the church? Taking the money. You ain't giving enough. So there you have it. So I love y'all. I just want to tell y'all that. Please share this. Tell everybody. Put it out there. I'm unapologetic about this. And people say, well, the church, we don't do that over here. So whatever you think the church does, they do over there. Don't put that on us. I don't know what they're doing over there, and I don't really care about what they're doing over there. And if you don't like where you at, then go find some place that you can go where they'll treat you like you want to be treated. You don't have to go to that church. There's nobody twisting your arm, forcing you to go to nobody's church. You go to any church you want to go to. It's free will. You understand that? You can't even go into a gym without paying. You can't go into a gym without just walk in there and start working out. You got to pay some. Well, excuse me. You got a membership? No. You going to pay for a visit? They may give you one visit for free to try it out, but you're going to keep going every week. But church is the only place that we can do that at. And then we think if we don't go, well, if I don't go, I don't need to pay. You ain't paying. Listen, if I don't go to church, I shouldn't give anything. I'm sorry. That's not how this works. That's not how it works. All right. So you should, if you're a part of a ministry, be a faithful tither, consistent. Support the work. Right? Support the work. That's what we're asking those of you who are in church. Support the work. That's all. Support the work. Support the labor. Support what we're trying to do. There's some things that we need to try to do that, cost money. Like if the church shows with a new camera, y'all want me to pay for it? Right? Oh, if you know you're not giving, where do you think this money's coming from? If you know you're not consistently giving, where do you think this is coming from? Why do you think it's okay just to skip a couple Sundays and don't give nothing? How do you think we're going to stay open? How do you think that these things get done? I mean, come on. Let's not play games with this. It's a real business. There's real dollars and cents. There's real expenses that go into this. So you want to have fundraisers, but you don't even come to help do the fundraiser. We sell dinners, we can't find you. We do wash cars, we can't find you. Because you're not a part. So not only, and you may send a few dollars to help, but you're not there to help. We don't just need your money. And you sending your money in a place of you is not the same. Let me tell y'all, let me say that too. Some people send their money think that does not facilitate your money is not all of what we want. We want you to be a part of the work. We want you to be in the community. We want you to show up. That's what we want. and help support it financially, help support it spiritually, help support it with your presence. That's what we want. That's your contribution. No, you ain't got to write no $2,000 or $3,000 checks a week. No, that's not what we're asking. Just respect the work. Respect what we do as pastors. Respect the labor and intensity that we operate under. Stop minimizing it because some rogue preacher on TV starts yelling at you through a screen. All of a sudden now you listen to everything he's saying. When he don't care nothing about you or your soul, don't even know you, can care less about what you're going through. And if you're in trouble, you can't call him. You can't call him because he ain't coming. He ain't even answer your call. But it's the local guy on the ground who's going to show up for you. That's who you should be supporting. That's who you should be committed to. Not some dude in the screen or some woman in the screen yelling at you and prophesying to you about what you're going to be when your man of God, woman of God is sitting right here in the trenches with you. You have no loyalty because you think it's about you too. I'm talking straight through here. You think it's about you too. So you don't care nothing about the work either. That's why you easily run and listen to someone on some screen somewhere who, when you get in trouble or something happens, you can't call them. And then some of you got so much pride when you do get in trouble because you don't badmouth the preacher so bad, you don't feel right by calling. You feel like a hypocrite for calling them. Well, what you should have done is should have said nothing about him in the first place. So you won't have any funny way of feeling when you need that man or woman of God. Shut your mouth about him or about her. And let me tell you something. I can hear in the spirit when people are talking about me. Y'all think we don't know that stuff? You don't think God let me know how people feel about you? You don't think that comes across? You don't think God is with all his infinite? You don't think God would let us know in our heart how you feel about us? You can't even hear you. I can hear it in your voice when I talk to you sometimes. And most of it's for no reason. It's because of something you did or not doing. Or you think it's a position somebody's taking up. Man, stop all that. So I just want to be clear. Marvin wasn't talking to you. He wasn't talking to me. And whatever they do in their camp, that's what they do. If those people want to leave and don't want to take it, they don't have to leave. And I guarantee you, if somebody wanted to get up and leave that place, they could have got up and left. They could have got up and left. There's not an usher nowhere who'll be like, you can't leave this room. There is no way that would have happened. But because y'all just run with these narratives and make all these assumptions and he held them hostage and locked them in, that's just you talking. That's not what really happened. So whatever, mind your business. What we do in our churches is what we do. As long as we ain't breaking the law, we know what we're doing. Now, for those who got a part of cults and all that, that's something else. But that's this, y'all blowing this out of proportion. The church is giving too much time for this. And the reason why I'm talking about it because I'm trying to shut all this nonsense down. Marvin, I don't know nothing about Marvin and his church and what he does. I know he sings and he's a preacher. But whatever they do, listen. All right. Any questions? Any questions? Yeah, let's talk. Any questions? Conversation is two-way. I said, let's have the conversation. Any questions? I'm going to give y'all a minute. Any questions? No? Come on. I'll give you time. I know there's a delay. It's 10 o'clock. Oh, Jesus. Any questions? No? Yes? Come on. Don't tell me there's no questions. I know y'all got questions. Any questions? No? I'm surprised. I'm surprised. That's right. God bless you, Newkirk. Most pastors in this country are pastoring congregations 50 people or less. Most churches in this country are pastoring congregations of 50 people or less. Most. It's a small congregation. It's not large. And the people who are doing the most work in communities are the smaller churches of those 50 and less. Yeah. And those churches are working off of 20% of faithful givers on the average. Most people are freeloading. They are. I don't say what you want to say. They just come in, they don't give nothing. Ain't nobody saying, oh, no, you got to give. Nobody's at the door making you give. They ain't doing that. We're not doing that. We won't do that. But that's a reality. That's the reality. And I'm telling you, if the churches that are in operation now, if they had 100% tithing, there's not a church out here that could not thrive with 100% tithers in their church. But those people that are in that ministry, if everybody would give, would be just basic fundamental tithers, right? A dime out of every dollar, that church would thrive. I don't care how small it is. I don't care how small it is. If that church, everybody was given on a consistent basis, that church would thrive. And that's fine. I'm good with how people feel about what he said. The reality is, it doesn't matter, and I get that. I'm with you on that. I mean, we have our opinions. You're entitled. Nobody's even each for that. I'm talking about the world. Deacon Barrett, you're part of the church. I'm talking about the world. The world think they can just say what they want to say. But I've heard pastors talk worse than that. I've heard pastors embarrass people, and I cringed. I'm like, oh man, that's terrible. And no, I wouldn't do what he did. No, not at all. I wouldn't. That's not a tactic. I don't think it should be done. Period. But okay, all right. That's why I don't go over there. That's why I'm not a part of that church. That's why I'm not of that persuasion. I think we give the world too much say in what happens in our churches. What I mean by that is that we tend to care. I don't think that we give too much. We give too much of that. That's my point. Any questions? And Deaconess Barrett, for the record, you are a consistent tither. You're a giver. You give every week. So you talking like, so that's the thing. That's my point. The people who should be having an opinion, the people who they're committed to the work. You're there mostly every week. Right? You're faithful. Been faithful for years. So like that's what I'm saying. Like, that's my point overall. I do believe because of the business being conducted, doors should be closed, locked, based on robberies. And you're right. Let me tell you something else too. Bishop Jakes would tell these stories, and y'all don't know this either, right? Now, what I won't say is I don't know. His statement was with a statement. I get all that. He said that, they're, for safety and security. Okay, whether that was true or not, I don't know. I don't know. But the point I'm making is this. And I agree with you. Bishop Jakes would talk about people would rob his church. Let me tell you what they used to do. They will come up to the offering, stick their hand in the bucket, and shoot for the door. It happens a lot more than you know. Those kind of smash and grab robberies, people will be in the church. They will do like the line to go around the offering. That's why a lot of times they stop doing that. And now because there's a lot of electrical giving, online giving, you don't have those issues. But there was a time when there was only cash, checks, money. Guys used to run up on the church, stick their hand in that bucket, and run for the doors. Right? That's what they would do. You're right about that. Lady Rika, you're right about that. But yeah, that's what they should do. So again, y'all don't know that. The world don't know that. They don't think that happens. They don't care about security. They don't care whether or not the people are held at gunpoint. They don't care whether or not somebody can smash and grab, and they don't know anything about that. They don't even care to even find out about that before they start making comments, before they start throwing things out there. That's why we shouldn't be paying attention to what they say. And I tell you the truth, Marvin should have never responded. That's telling too. That's telling too. That's a tell. You do responding to the world. That's a tell. You care too much. Stop responding to your critics. Stop responding to your haters. Stop doing that. Stop giving them a voice in your mouth. People who don't like you, stop responding to them. People who got nothing good to say about you, stop responding to them. People who don't support you, stop giving them your ear. Stop doing that. Because it doesn't matter what they think. Jesus asked his disciples a question. Remember the question, y'all? Y'all know your Bible. What did he say? Who do men say I am? Right? And they started sprouting out all this other things. Crazy thing is, was over. Yeah, it was over a year ago. Who do men say I am? So they started telling what everybody's saying. He said, okay, they don't know who I am. He said, who do you say I am? And he commented on what they said, not what the world said. He just wanted to know what they were hearing. But when he says, who do you say I am? He commented about what they said who he said he was. You should only be concerned about those people that serve with you, what they say about you, because they're supposed to know you. The world knows is an opinion, but what you know is a revelation because you're inside. It's been revealed to you who he is. The world just has an opinion. They look on the outside and they call you all kinds of names. Some say the liar, some say this, some say that, some say here, there, whatever. Yeah, you don't know. You just look on the outside. You guessing. Who do you? Those who are close to me, you know who I am. That's who you should be concerned with. Not those people who look at you from the outside. Bump them. Doesn't matter what they say. Who do you say? And that's what it comes down to. And I want y'all to see how strategic this is too. Y'all ready for this? Right? Right before Easter. Right before Easter. Right? Right before Easter. Here we go. Here we go. Right before Easter. The one day in the year, the church attendance is through the roof. Now we got all this scandal, all this nonsense. That's the trick of the enemy, y'all. That's the trick of the enemy. No questions? All right. God bless you. Have a great night. Thank you for chiming in with us. Thank you for sharing with us tonight. I honor you. That's right. Distractions. I honor you. Thank God for you. Don't forget, Sunday morning, we're going to be at Sunday afternoon at 1:30. We'll be at our local service. A reason to stop people from, that's right, coming to church. We are located at 318 West Avenue in Stratford, Connecticut. Our service time is at 1:30, so you don't have to worry about getting up early. You can come in. Let's not forget that we are honoring, this month is Women's Month. Y'all know that, right? And so we are honoring our mother who has gone to be with the Lord, Mother Pauline Purefoy. We're going to honor her on Sunday. So please come and let's be a part of that. So we are certainly grateful to God for fellowship with us at 318 Stratford Ave. 318 West Ave in Stratford, Connecticut. Come be with us. We're at 1:30. We have a pretty straight line service. But this Sunday we will be honoring Mother Purefoy special tribute. So come out with us and listen. Don't get distracted with the world. Your local church, just be faithful at your church. Help support the work that's going on in your ministry. Be consistent, be faithful. Don't let no one throw you off. Stop listening to people who got negative things to say about your church, about your pastor. Don't let them, don't fall for it. It's a trick, right? It's a trick. And some of you have, fallen for it. Some of you have, laid down for it. You let that stuff get to you. You gotta stand up, right? You gotta stand up and like, no, okay, well, do what you want to do, but you're not gonna do that to me. I don't care what you have to say about it. I don't care. You may not respect it. You may have some art, whatever your problem is, but don't let no one persuade you against your ministry, because that's called Antichrist. That's the Antichrist spirit, right? When they start talking about your church and they don't know, So, and I know good and well, if anybody start talking about it, I'm taking your money. They have a clue who I am. You should be like, you should slap them. Like, get out of here. What's wrong with you? So, so Sunday, we'll see you Sunday. Stay well. Y'all stay healthy, right? Take your vitamin C, cover your nose, wear your mask, whatever you got to do. But let's stay healthy. All right. Love y'all. I got to go. Have a good night. And hope to see you Sunday. I really do. All right. God bless.